We are back, long-awaited Basch The Brain, to talk about the Olympic trials. We wanted to do this last week. You wanted to wait for the seeds, and then USA Wrestling playing diddle sticks with us, making us wait all day.
It wasn't that bad, but it was bad.
Well, to be fair, you're on the West Coast, so it's only 1 o'clock.
Right.
It's 4 o'clock here, so.
Yeah. I was trolling them a little bit. Not trolling them. I was just teasing them a little, But they got him out. So all's well that ends well.
And they did put them in a graphic form, which I'm so happy to finally see information being put out in graphic form, which is one reason I've been doing it for so long, is because so many people just let them visualize the bracket. Let them see it real quick. They're going to go on your website. They're still going to go read more and this and that, but give them the quick information, the seeds, the bracket. So I liked that.
Yeah, I didn't even know they did that because I clicked on the article that they posted and I said out loud, I'm like, I wish that this was in graphic form. And Basch said they got them out there, which is good.
They are. And I had to troll them when they're like, USA Wrestling should try to be a personality more. And they're like, oh, you guys want seeds? And then they troll us giving us the Greco seeds. When 90% of the interest is in men's freestyle. Of course, put all the brackets out. Put them all out at once. But give us men's freestyle. That's largely what so many want to see, especially with fields like this.
I kind of like that they trolled us back.
I don't hate it. I'm just glad we have the brackets. And, I put out a couple tweets because I was seeing stuff, and it's
a couple housekeeping things on it before we dive right into the brackets. Who were some scratches? No David Carr.
No David Carr. I looked at the bracket real quick, and I forgot Zane was sitting out, and I go, no Zane. What the heck? Realized he was, on the side. And I looked at 74 before I even went to 86. I looked at 74 and I saw no Carter. So I tweeted out, dang, that sucks. No Carter Starace. Got to 86. Oh, there's Carter. Carter and Pat Downey, round 1 at 86 kilos.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say.
Didn't have that on my bingo card.
Carter up, Downey in. There's no way he's wrestling, right? There's no way Downey's wrestling, is he?
You never know with Pat. He shows up to some of these events. He trains. I mean, he says he is.
I think USA. Here's why he might be wrestling is because Vito's out. Okay, Starace's in his weight change. Right. David Carr's out, and they're not in the bracket. So the information that Wrestling has the information.
Correct. And they put him in their preview. All things point to him competing unless something last minute happens. Yeah. It's crazy because we're going to have two very loud personalities right there round 1 with him and Starace.
That is. They should just make it match number 1. It doesn't matter if it fits into the schedule, like the bout order. Just make it number 1.
Yeah. No, that's going to be a fun one. So no Carr was the big first one that I saw. I think everything else competitor-wise is pretty much what we thought. Carter up at 86 was a big surprise, and no Carr was a big surprise.
Carter up at 86. Okay, so people ask me about it, and they're like, is Carter going to really make weight? And then Kozak did seeds, and he had him at 74. And so people start chattering about it more. And then I write out the brackets, and people start, really, Carter, is he really going to do it? This and that. And I never thought that Carter was going to make 160 or 60, 163 pounds. I never thought it. But
especially with the injury.
Yeah, right. But I also didn't even think about him moving to 86. I figured he would just not wrestle.
I thought we'd see him at 86 because of the fact that we saw him at 86 in 2021.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's done it before. He's gone up to 86. He's felt it. I don't know what his confidence level is. Obviously, you know Carter. Like, Carter is a dog, and Carter, if he's wrestling to win it. But we'll talk about Carter when we get to 86 because we got a lot to talk about.
Real quick, though, on Carter. I came out with my crystal ball, and I have him as pending because apparently he told a lot of alumni that he wasn't coming back. And I think, you have to take anything Carter says with a grain of salt because he's sort of playing the game. So I put him in crystal ball as pending at 74. And a couple of people said to me, I think he might come back at 84. And it's kind of interesting proposal.
I think moving forward, you have to do a show as you release crystal ball because I was getting DMs and comments like, why is Willie not including Levi Haynes? Where's Braden Davis? Like, you just put this thing out there. You got McGonigal and Virginia Tech before he even announces it. It's just like,
oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Well, I knew that freaking days ago. But I think it would be, it's off topic kind of, but I think it's an interesting scenario. Carter at 184.
Yeah, it's, Bo initially did not want to wrestle another year. Obviously, now he's coming back. He's made the decision. He's 100% coming back. And I think you get a couple things. I think when you're in the season or you only have – Carter came on the podcast before the season and said, listen, I'm not worried about being a 5-timer. I want to be a 4-timer. Now that he's a 4-timer, maybe that'll change. Maybe now he'll think about being a 5-timer. Maybe he'll think about, coming back for whatever reasons.
Well, do have you ever discussed with Carter how difficult 174 is? Is it difficult? Is it easy? Is it?
I haven't discussed the weight cut with him too much, no.
So I wonder if he'll be, maybe he'll be big enough 189. I mean, he's certainly not as big as Brooks or Taylor.
No, 100%. And I think that, I don't know that Carter even knows if he's coming back or not right now. I think it's going to take a lot of conversations. I think it's going to be really trying to figure out what he wants, what his future looks like, and then go from there. Also, I don't know why your videos froze, but your videos froze.
My videos froze? Oh, hold on.
It's just you looking down.
Well, something's goofed up. I don't know. Well, you can hear me though?
I can hear you perfect.
All right. Well, then I'll get my camera. You just hold on there, pal.
Now I can see you from the other camera.
From the other camera. All right. Well, at least you can hear my.
No, now your microphone's the other microphone.
All right. Well,
wait. Now your mic's good. So, all right, just move your computer a little bit so that you're centered. Right now, we just see half your face, like in Two-Face. Move your computer so that your face is in the center of your camera. And he's gone. Oh my gosh. All right, we got him back.
We're back. Yeah.
All right. So we'll just keep going, folks. All right. So, yeah, I haven't talked to him too much. I'm looking forward to seeing him this week. That's one reason why we were talking about this notion that you might not go to the Olympic trials. And one of the reasons I want to go is because it's in Penn State. It's only 3 hours away. I can get together with guys like Roman. So, Carter's definitely, especially if he's not competing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to go. I'm not going. I would love to be there. There's absolutely nothing like being around the guys, being around the coaches, getting to hear things that most people don't get to hear, getting some insight that most people don't get to get. It's a privilege. It helps me report on things better. It helps me be more accurate and know what I'm talking about. But the following week, I'm cadets are a big deal to me. So Earl's going for Intermat, and he'll have it covered there, and I will watch from home.
I'm jealous. I do love watching sporting events from home. If you're not going to go there, you should go to Bashada's house. That's going to be He said he'll send the plane for you, man. He said he'll send the plane.
Here's the thing: if I was in PA, if I was back home, I would definitely go. But
yeah,
to fly from Spokane, go to State College, and then I would essentially have to go from State College to Vegas, I'm just not doing that.
Does your wife have any interest in moving to the East Coast?
Absolutely not. She tried that once. Didn't work out. Might have had a little bit something to do with me, though.
Okay. All right. Let's go through the brackets.
All right.
We might talk a little coaching news, too, at the end of this because John Smith did retire. I don't think you've done a show about that. I haven't done a show about that. I do wish we both know so many of the coaching changes coming this week, and it's a balance of trying to be respectful, letting the programs and the coaches put out the information, but we do want to talk about it. So let's see. All right. Let's go through the brackets. Men's freestyle, 57 kilos, right out of the gate, fun bracket. We did get the unfortunate news this weekend that Vito's not competing.
Yeah.
You know, his dad.
Not happy about that.
What's that?
Not happy about that. You know, for Vito, you know, you chase a dream so long. And you know, it's no guarantee that he makes a team. And just like there was no guarantee Soriano in 2021, but you don't want to see him lose out on the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And, you know, his dad, Vogar, put out an announcement and said, look, I talked to Vito. We're not doing it. The cut's too big. And Vito put out a video. I can't remember if it was in his video or the video he did with Wrestling Mindset that he's like, as I'm trying to descend to the weight, the injuries are nagging. The injuries are not making it happen. It's like, man, if you have any nagging injuries and you're trying to cut weight, that's why I didn't think Carter would make 74. It's not just him. It's what's his knee going to do on the way down.
Yeah. I talked to people at Cornell, and they said that the combination of the two, and they said when the lighter he gets, the more the inflammation kills him. Like he just cannot. He can't do it.
Yeah.
They said it was the inflammation that really affected him.
Yeah, so he's out, but we got Zane Richards, the returning world medalist, the returning world team member, the 1, Thomas Gilman, the 2, Dayton Fix, the 3, Spencer Lee, the 4. I mean, this is a fun weight.
It really is. Nico in Kozak's seed, Nico was the 6. Now he's the 5. So that gives us a quarterfinal with him and Spencer, which we saw at. I guess we saw a couple times, but we saw it at Farrell. Was it or was? We saw it at Farrell.
When?
For sure.
This year?
Or was that the Senior Open?
I think maybe Senior Nationals. I remember Soriano and Gross back at the Farrell before the last Olympics. I don't remember Soriano Fix.
Well, yeah, maybe I'm misremembering, but they definitely hit in like December, right? And Nico's big, strong, but Spencer was able to finish on him. I thought going into the match, Nico was a tricky matchup for him.
Oh, you're talking Nico Spencer. Sorry, they were at the Farrell.
Yeah. But Nico
or Senior Nationals, one of them.
Spencer was able to. It was a tough match. Wasn't your typical Spencer boom, bing bang boom tech, but Spencer was able to work through positions and win that. So, good.
Yeah, that was Senior Nationals. He won 6-2, and that was Spencer's really like. I remember doing a show about it, and it's like how Spencer Lee's health, this and that. I got to be honest, after that, I kind of in my mind moved him up to the top of the list for like expectations for 57 kilos because a lot of the other guys I feel like are giving you more reason to have lower expectations. And I feel like Spencer's done nothing but giving us reason to have higher expectations. And that win over Nico definitely helped get that there.
Especially, like I said, for a couple reasons. Number one, because of Spencer's health, and number two, because Spencer had always been a little bit on the smaller side. for 125 and for 57 kilograms. And Nico's big. And so for Spencer to handle his physicality and his size, I thought it was a really great sign.
And you know what? Now that I think about it, they wrestled at both. Because he beat...
Yeah, I thought they wrestled a couple times.
He wrestled at the Bill Farrell, beat him 7-4 in the finals, and then he didn't have to go to senior nationals and still went. And then he beat him 6-2 at senior nationals.
Yeah. So, you're taking Spencer there, and then who you taking in the top with Zane Richards, Lilladol, and DeShazer?
Well,
big boy. What a big one.
Yeah, it's a tough weight. I would say Zane and Spencer end up in that semi. But that top quad, I mean, Luke is a little young. I don't know that he can knock off DeShazer and then Zane to get to that semi, but I think we end up seeing Spencer versus Zane in that top semi.
I'll pick that too, but I honestly think any of those three can win. If one of those three came out, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when you have, Zane Richards, I feel like at Final X, the talk seemed more so Thomas Gilman had a bad weight cut. It wasn't a lot of flowers for Zane, but he's definitely, he made the world team.
There's a catch-22 there. I mean, there's pros and cons there with Zane, and like a lot of people want to sort of write Zane off as this it was an outlier performance, and he's not a true, he's not commensurate with the standard, right? They don't give him a lot of respect. The respect that one deserves for making it to world team. But a part of that is because Thomas Gilman at Final X clearly was not himself.
Right. Yeah, he didn't look himself.
People fail to recognize that Zane won the U.S. Open, where Spencer defaulted. He beat Soriano, right? So Richards did. Richards beat Soriano, and he beat somebody else. I forget who it was. So, yes, Thomas Gilman wasn't at his best, but Richards has also beaten dudes.
Yeah, and the top half of this bracket, you look at it, and I mean, my initial thought was, wow, the bottom side of this bracket is loaded. So I almost kind of just put Zane and Spencer in the top half. Like, I love Nico, but when Spencer beats him twice in a row, you got to kind of go Spencer. And sure. Zane, you got to kind of pick him over the 8 and the 9. So I kind of just looked at that, and then it's, the rest of the bottom half is just loaded.
It's loaded. However, it's Olympic trials and Olympic trials in particular, because it means the world to all these guys, and because there's people are merging to a weight, they're either cutting hard and it affects them, or they're bulking up and they're a little bit more lively, or they're coming up and they're too small. In combination with the fact that in freestyle we see those guys so infrequently. We don't see them every week like we see them in college. And one thing is for sure, there's going to be massive upsets. Or I shouldn't even say massive upsets. There's going to be a lot of little upsets, and where we gain a totally new perspective on a guy, whether it's up or down. And that to me is what makes the trial so fascinating. Is somebody could come out of the woodwork here and upset some guys. And in particular, I'm talking about the bottom half. But as much as you want to analyze and overanalyze, to me, it's the fix Soriano quarter, and is Thomas Gilman able to make the weight and make it effectively?
Yeah.
To me, that's the story of the bottom half.
And speaking of, little upsets and this and that, Nick Lee, 2021 Olympic trials is the perfect case of that. He went on a tear. He beat Yanni on the backside. I forgot who else he beat. Did he beat? I think he only lost to J.O., right? And then he beat like a slew of other guys.
He beat Zane and he beat Yanni.
Yeah, and, he's been right there, and then he went on to make a world team. So, you're definitely going to see some of that. Very curious who it happens to this weekend. And, yeah, I mean, this looks like in the quarters we're going to see Fix and Soriano, and then Gilman and I don't know. What's your thoughts on Liam versus Forrest?
I never know what you're going to get out of Jax Forrest. I never know. Liam is obviously much older. He's out of college and focusing on freestyle. He's done really well. He had a good senior open.
Does Husker Willie carry over into the senior level?
I don't know. I mean, I always want to see the Huskers do well. I know
you got Ridge winning it next year.
Well, I don't know why that's crazy.
It's not. We got to do a crystal ball show. It's not crazy.
We'll do a crystal ball show.
It's not that it's crazy, but it does show a little bit of your Husker bias. You got Caleb Henson, the returning champ, too. You got Shane Van Ness, who I think could be a 1-2 clearly. So it's not crazy. Lovett is definitely a top 3. I just saw that and I kind of chuckled. Like, of course he's got Ridge number 1.
I knew before you would chuckle. I mean, he beat Henson in Vegas, and
you're not wrong. I get the logic.
Henson lost the week before to 0-time All-American Jackson Arrington.
I know. You're not wrong. I laughed. I had to laugh at Husker Willie.
Anyway, I don't know. Jax is really crazy, especially the first time you feel him, because he'll do stuff that you didn't anticipate, and he takes a lot of your offense and turns into his scores. And so I would lean Cronin, but I wouldn't be surprised if Forrest won.
Yeah.
I mean, and listen, I would never pick, at this point in time, I would never pick Jax Forrest to beat Thomas Gilman. But if Thomas is, first of all, I don't know that Thomas is going to make weight. Okay. And if he does, how is he going to look?
Well, I think he'll die before he doesn't make weight. I don't think he won't make weight. He's as professional as they come. So I think he'll make weight. But man, I'm torn because
it's really weird. Because
are we blowing out of proportion one bad weight cut?
Right. The thing is, Thomas Gilman made 57, and he won medals at Worlds and made teams after team, and no problem. All of a sudden, shows up to Final X, bad weight cut. Is it because he's older? Is it because he's bigger? Or is it just, you know what? I had a bad cut. Will he be back to normal here? Will he be his old self here? Will be his normal self here? I mean, that's just a giant question.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways I feel like you could attack this at nauseum, because, he had 3 straight techs last year at Pan Am's the month before Final X. Obviously, Pan Am's is never the biggest competition for the U.S., but still, he made the weight. He got three quick techs, and, it's like the dude is 30 years old. At some point, that cut just gets harder and harder. And, we've talked all season about how we're going to see retirements. Does a guy
the interesting thing to me is I talked to some people, and they said that Gilman was always obsessive about staying small.
Yeah.
And maintaining maintaining the proper size, so that when the time came, it wasn't this giant cut. And maybe he ballooned up last year before Final X, and it was hard to get down.
Or maybe he had the flu the week before. The wrestlers don't care about commentary, so I don't fault him. But we also don't often hear, I don't want to call them excuses, but we don't get too much insight into, hey, I had an injury and the weight cut was hard. Hey, I had the flu the week before, the weight cut was hard. We don't hear anything. These guys just go off into their farms and raising their chickens and do their life, which is fine. But from a commentary standpoint, it does make it hard, because here we are speculating almost 10 months later, why did he have a bad weight cut? And what Thomas Gilman will we see?
Why? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the Thomas Gilman that comes out 99.9% of the time, he could very well win this whole thing.
Yeah.
Obviously. He's done it before with this field.
This weight, truly more than any other weight, I think. I think this weight has more people who could actually, like, hey, Zane Richards wins. Okay, I get that. Hey, Spencer Lee won. Okay, I get that. Hey, Fix won. Okay, I get that. Soriano won. Hey, I get that. Gilman won. Hey, I get that. This weight has a lot of, it's one of, there's only 2 weights out of the 6 where you don't have a guy in the finals that are big favorites. Yeah. So
I agree. And the other, is there somebody in this field that you would say to yourself, well, any one of these guys could win, but this guy is the one that I think would have the best shot to qualify the weight at Last Chance?
My gut says Nico or Spencer, only from a weight standpoint. Gilman and Soriano and Fix all seem like, Fix and Soriano are 61 kilo guys. That's just a fact. They're 61 kilo guys cutting down. So that always adds an element of toughness. Gilman, again, 30 years old, didn't have a good weight cut last year. We don't know which Gilman we're going to see. So it's like, and Spencer doesn't seem to have an issue with the weight whatsoever. And in a field like this, where a guy drops out a week before because injuries are acting up as he makes that cut, you got to give Spencer the edge here.
Well, I think for me, it's 2 things. Now, again, it's tough to say Thomas Gilman has a hard time making 57 when it's only been once, but
100%.
That once was the last time. So it's fresh in our minds. From my perspective, if 57 doesn't kill Thomas Gilman, I would say he's probably the best one to qualify the weight for this reason, and only this reason. Spencer just doesn't have a whole lot of international reps.
If Thomas Gilman has a great weight cut and he comes out and he looks like vintage Thomas Gilman, he's my pick to win the whole thing. And you're going to hear this. This is the first time I'm saying it for the show, but you're going to hear this throughout the whole show. I think the NLWC sees a little boost from the home crowd. I do. You're going to have my pick for the finals. I'll get right to it for this weight. I think it's going to be Gilman and Spencer. We're going to have Penn State, Iowa, a former Hawkeye. That's what I think the final's going to be. And like you're saying, if Gilman has a weight cut where take the weight out of the equation, that's his biggest, in my opinion, hurdle.
Yeah. I'm 100% with it. You don't rattle off what Gilman rattled off, and what he rattled off was 3 medals in 18 months, right? Something like that. 3 world Olympic medals in 18 months. You don't rattle that off without being very good and very disciplined with your weight management. So if he's back to that, that's my pick too. I'm taking Spencer. I'm going to assume that Gilman's fine, and I'm going Spencer and Gilman in the finals.
Yeah. And that'll be a hell of a match, worth the price of admission, as they say.
Oh, who are you taking?
It's a tough call because you say assume the weight cut's fine. If the weight cut's fine, I'm going Gilman. If Spencer wins, I'm in my mind thinking, depending on how it goes, if Gilman wrestles all day great on Friday, and then Spencer beats him in the finals, then I don't think it has anything to do with weight cut. Mm-hmm. So if Gilman, assume he wrestles great on Friday, doesn't sneak by and get a win, like actually looks like, the Gilman we've seen, I think Gilman wins it and he's back in the Olympic team.
Remember that 18 months or even prior to that when he was making the teams, before he made the first team in that stretch, you could see real development. Like Thomas went from a guy who would win a 4-3 play the game match to creating gaps, creating distance between his competition, pretty much dominating.
And here's another thing
was Yaguyev. And so, yeah. And it's, I don't know. It's different. I'm taking Spencer though. I think Spencer's sort of the safe pick. And I think he's, I just think he's at his peak right now. And I'm not so sure who else is at their peak. I mean, name one guy in this bracket that you say he is clearly at the top of his game. The guy that is clearly at the top of their game is Spencer Lee.
Hey, Willie.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop recording to say this. So if this accidentally makes it to the podcast, everybody just fast forward. Just don't listen to this.
Yeah.
Does the NLWC get 6? Does the NLWC get 6?
They could.
Gilman, Lee, Dake, Taylor, Snyder, Kirk.
Well, I'm picking Kirk, so.
Yeah. I'm going Gilman here because I'm going Gilman because I'm gonna I'm in my mind.
Do you owe me $10?
Yeah, come collect. Come to the Olympic trials and collect, and I'll double it, make it 20.
All right.
I got to be careful here because I might end up with 6 on the Olympic team from State College, but I'm gonna say we are all overreacting to one bad weight cut, and I think Thomas Gilman gets it done in State College.
Listen, it's a fine pick.
And am I at all surprised if Spencer Lee wins? No. He's looked great. Weight seems to not be an issue. He looks healthy. I think it is a 50-50 toss-up match. I'm going to go Thomas Gilman.
I'd be very happy for Thomas Gilman if he won. And I think it's a fine pick. To me, there's questions on almost everybody in the field except for Spencer Lee. To me, there's no questions anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's my take.
A funny thing is when I was going through these brackets and I'm looking at ever since Frank, goes out and wins it as the 9th seed, I always look at the 9th seed. Imagine Luke Lillidahl going out and winning this weight. How crazy that would be. But that stuff happens. We see big upsets. We see crazy stuff, but yes.
Luke, I love that kid.
Yeah, he's great. How can you not? All right, so Spencer Gilman final. All right, 61 kilos because we're going 10 weight. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish.
65. What a weight. What a treat.
Yeah, it's amazing. You start with Nick Lee up top. He'll get Gross or Pantelio, in a match between guys that are
61 and 70.
Right. Converging. I'll take Pantelio there. Again, a weight thing for him. You know, Pantaleo's always even had real nail biters with Zane. And so it'll be interesting with him and Nick Lee. But considering the questions on Pantaleo's pool, I'll take Lee. So I got Lee to the semis. And I will take...
Man, Alira's Bartlett's going to be a fun one if that happens.
Nahshon Bartlett at this point. You take Bartlett. Nahshon, haven't seen him in quite a while. And he's up at 65. But so you Bartlett, Alira, who you got? This should be interesting.
As I tweet a lot of stuff out, and there's two things that really kind of were odd to me. The high expectations for James Green and Andrew Alira's this weekend. And I was kind of like, man, I'm kind of surprised people. Number one, James Green is 0-5 at the Olympic trials. He has not done good cutting down to 65. I know now he's had surgery, everything else. I have no clue how he's going to do, but I am surprised if the expectations are high for a guy who has not had any luck at the weight. So I was surprised that expectations are high for Green when obviously he's a very, very skilled wrestler, and if he makes a great weight cut, does good things, nobody's surprised. And then the expectations were very high for Alira's, and he had an incredible senior nationals. He's, I remember when he won it back, what was it, 2020 or 2019, 2021, whenever he won it, like, he looked great, but I don't know. I'm going Bartlett here, and call that Penn State homerism all you want.
Oh, that's Penn State homer. Nick
Lee, who is the returning world team member, if you recall, last year, him and Bo wrestled, and it was 10-10, and Bo, quote-unquote, won the match, and they said, hey, we're switching the result, got it wrong, whatever. Bo's right there with Nick Lee, the returning world team member.
Yeah, I think that is a good point.
I think Andrew Alira's is going to be amazing to watch over the next 4 years. And if he has some incredible results, I'm not surprised. That said, again, couple things. You're in-state college. You got that Penn State crowd. Look at who Bo Bartlett is training with. He's training with the 1 seed, Nick Lee. He's training with the guy sitting in the semis, Zane Rutherford. Those are the guys in his room.
Very good point. The fact that Bartlett was 10-10, and it matters to me. It matters that it was 10-10 and not 2-2, because that means he was scoring points on Nick Lee. That is a really good point. However, Alirez won the bracket with Bartlett in 12 months ago, and Alirez has had this date circled and has been training exclusively freestyle.
100%.
So I'm going to go with Alirez in that one and have Alirez and Lee in the semis. I got to go Lee. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Alirez could do it. There's not a ton of data on Alirez.
I know, that's what also makes it tough. And when you go by, again, I think Alirez is incredibly talented. And if he wins, nobody's surprised. But, I think based on what I've seen from Bo, and that Nick Lee match really sticks out. And, I think for whatever reason, the expectations always seem to be a little bit lower for Bo. They were kind of like that throughout the college season. And then here he was in the NCAA finals after an undefeated season, and not undefeated season. He lost the Big Tens, and he, lost at the last second with a scramble. So, it's like Bo Bartlett's one of the best in the country. I think he's going to do good this weekend.
And Bo has medaled at Worlds, right? Was it juniors or U23s?
I think juniors.
So he's obviously no stranger to freestyle and freestyle success. Down below, you mentioned James Green. He was the gatekeeper at 70 kilograms for years. Every time he tried to come down to 65, it has not gone well. However, one, he's healthier than he's ever been in a long time. Two, I know for sure he's gotten. Now, when I was out there in January, I said, "How much you weigh? How's your weight?" And he was, I forget what he said, 54 or something. And I'm like, "Damn, that's low." I'm like, "You're in good shape." And he's like, "Yeah, but it's those last few ones that always hurt, you know." But I'm like, "James, that's really good." And so, he's been gradually declining. Last week or 2 weeks ago, he was really close in weight. They made him get really close in weight, and was fine. And so, I'm not saying that this is going to be the best version of James Green we've ever seen at 65, but there's reason for optimism. There are a couple factors where you could say, I mean, on the one hand, you could say, we've seen this before. It never works out for him. He's going to be a shell of himself at 65. And that could very, very well be true. But I'm also saying there's a couple circumstances that might help him more than did in the past.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And by the way, as this podcast continues to grow, there are people who don't realize that the reason I got into wrestling or back into wrestling is guys like Cal Sanderson and Jake Varner and Jordan Burrows were clients. And now guys like Yanni, Nick Lee, even James Green, a lot of these guys are clients. So if there's ever an apparent bias, no crap. Of course there is. These are guys I work with to build their brand. So when you talk to them more, just like you're describing with James Green, talking about the weight on a more intimate conversation like you guys have, it's hard not to be swayed by that. The closer you are with somebody, it's fun to give picks and preview a weight. But, it's Basch Solutions will always come first to me. My relationships will always come first. So it's hard not to, go with some of these biases. And this is one of those weights where it's like, you see it. I go up and down this list, and I'm like, dang, I don't want to fast forward to 74, but well, you got Chenzo and Nolf. I love both of those guys. And that could be a quarter. So anyways, I say that because I'm sure as people listening, there's more and more people listening to this podcast, which is incredible. But I think people forget it's not Penn State homerism. It's Basch Solutions homerism. And yes, the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club is a client of mine. I'm very biased towards them. But I also pick against them if I think, that's the right call. But the bottom half of this bracket is going to be super fun because, you talk about James Green and what will his weight do, and then you got the winner right away of Jesse Mendez, Joey McKenna, two true 65-kilo guys.
Yeah. I like James. I'll take James in that match, going out and making the...
You're taking James in the prelim?
I'm taking James. No, I'm taking James over. I'll say McKenna, but I'm not very confident in that. But I'll take Joey, and I'll take James over Joey in that quarter.
I'm talking about bias, so I'm not going to bash, no pun intended, Husker Willie too much here. But I will say two things. I do think the winner of McKenna Mendez beats Green. I think, we saw it. I can't remember if it was the last Olympic. I think it was maybe Final X. Whenever we saw Jesse Mendez, and he was up like 10-1 over Seth Gross, and he almost beat him early in the match. And Jesse Mendez loves freestyle, and Jesse Mendez just had one of the most dominant seasons in college wrestling that you can have.
For sure.
My expectations on Jesse Mendez are very high. And on the other side of that match, you have Joey McKenna, a seasoned veteran who's won a lot of different things.
And I think for Mendez too, one factor that you look at, or one attribute that you think can really be helpful to him here, is that McKenna and James are sort of older. Mendez wrestles a super, super high pace, nonstop high pace. and he's coming off. His lungs are there because he pressed the full college season.
Sorry, hold on.
Who's talking to you?
The Burrows Carter beef just took another step up.
Did Burrows say something about him moving up?
Burrows said, "Going to be hard to end my career up there, champ." When Flo said he's up at 86. Oh man. Somebody asked why I'm not commenting more on the Burrows and Bo beef. I love both of those dudes. I am not getting the middle of it. Burrows is my guy. Bo is my guy. I was just telling Bo we need to get our sons together this weekend in State College. Like, Jordan's had his kids swimming in my pool. Like, I'm not getting in the middle of that beef.
It doesn't make him a whole lot of sense to me.
No. But anyway, so back to this. So the winner, if Joey slows down Jesse Mendez, who just had the season he did, I think the winner of that match beats James Green. If it's Jesse Mendez, I don't think a cut down to 65 kilos James Green can beat Jesse Mendez. And if Joey can slow down Jesse Mendez, I think Joey takes out James Green.
Yeah, I don't know. There's levels to this. And James Green has, maybe not at 65, but James Green made a world team for freaking 6 straight years.
What's his record at the Olympic trials?
Fair enough.
So that's very for me, like, these weights matter. And James Green at 65, if this was 70, this conversation would be very different.
Yeah.
Very different. Yeah. But I just think now, if you have the hope and he does good, and you tell me, yo, James told me he had an awesome weight cut and he looks good, great.
I can't say that he's having an awesome weight cut. What I can say is he was on the right track.
Yeah. And if that happens, but I'm, from a pick standpoint, I'm going, I don't know who to take in this Buckeye versus Buckeye. I'll go with the veteran Joey.
I'm going Joey.
But I'm
going Joey too, just out of experience.
But I think Jesse can get it done. And again, if Joey wins, which I think he's going to, I think he beats James Green. And then I think Koladzic, recency bias, I'm going to take him over Larkin. The way that dude just scored 42 unanswered at the last chance, didn't let up. No, he let up a couple points. But he scored 42 at the last chance. Bo Bassett was like a buzzsaw, and he just cut him in half, said, nope, turning it around on you now. So Koladzic looked as good as he could and locked in. I think Koladzic wins one more here.
I'll take Koladzic as well, although Caleb Larkin is going to be a force in college. You watch. So then you got Koladzic and Yanni. I'm going Yanni.
Yeah.
And then so you got Yanni and Joey. I got Yanni and James, and I'm going Yanni.
Okay, you're talking bottom side. Yanni over Joey. Now
you got Yanni and Joey. I got Yanni and James. But
I got
Zane.
All right, so I got Yanni and Joey into that semi, and I got Lee and Bo up top. And I think Lee and Bo, again, they wrestled, it was 10-10. I think it's going to be very similar. I think these guys know each other very well. Flip a coin. I think I give the edge to Nick Lee. He's the returning world team member. He beat him last time. So I'll give the edge to Nick Lee. And on the bottom now, before we get to the finals, you got the winner of Yanni Joey or Yanni James, depending on whose predictions, going up against Zane. Now, Zane was going to go 74 kilos. And
here again, we have a situation where weight could be a thing.
Yeah. I think Yanni gets it done here. And the main reason is 65. Zane has settled in so much to 70 kilos. Zane is looking like he did in college on the senior level at 70 kilos. That just dominance, that I want to be a bully. Like, you're talking 2 straight medals, a silver medal and a gold medal at the World Championships. And Zane looks as good as he can at 70. But this is 65 kilos. Yanni being a true 65-kilo guy. You talk about how Aliers has had this date circled on his calendar. I think Yanni has too. He got concussed in the Pan Am wrestle-off against Lee in the first match, and he couldn't wrestle again. And Yanni, if they told Yanni you can't go and wrestle, they had to probably fight him too.
Yeah.
And they sent him to the hospital. He was in the hospital all day, all night. Like, it wasn't just a quick, like, hey, let's do a little light concussion test. Like, he was in the hospital for a while that day and night. So I feel like he's had this date circled as well. Now, I will say, he was off the mat for a little bit. Where's Yanni at in his training? Again, the last time we saw him, he did get concussed, and he got concussed hard.
And it wasn't long ago.
No, it wasn't. So I'm picking Yanni there. I think with Zane coming down, listen, again, if Zane wins, and, Zane, who wanted to go 74, they had a good plan to get him to 65, healthy, ready to go.
It's really tough because, when Zane was down at 65 before, and he was a comfortable 65-pounder, him and Yanni were toss-up every day. It was a toss-up every day. And now Zane is coming down, and it's a pull, so you would figure if things are 50-50 or 51-49, that those odds tilt a little more in favor of Yanni. That being said, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've always considered Zane not that big.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be the pull for him. I'm taking Zane. Zane and Nick Lee in the finals. And who am I taking? It is so difficult. But I'm going to take Zane. I'm going to take Zane to make the Olympic team. I'm going to take Zane to make the Olympic team. I think it's his last. One thing about the Olympic trials too, and this on a smaller level, it happens at NCAAs all the time. When a guy's a senior, it could go one of two ways. Last tournament ever, it could go one of two ways. That dude can say, I'm getting it done this weekend. I ain't getting beat. And he wins a title. Or he gets beat, and then you say, well, he's a senior. He's going to pack it in and drop the 6. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they wrestle back. And I think this is, this is Zane's last tournament, in my opinion. This is Zane's last tournament unless he makes the team.
I'd say last tournament asterisk. Only because I do think there's a shot for Zane, Burrows. If these guys who are returning and previous world champions don't get it done here, I do think we see them go to the World Team Trials in June at their natural weight, and then right off to the sunset at the World Championships in the fall. Now, if Zane goes 0-2 and he puts his shoes on the mat, I'm not surprised. If Burrows loses early in the tournament and says, I just don't got it anymore, then, I could see them saying I'm done. But I do think we have a little bit of an oddity where you only have to wait a couple months. The World Team Trials are going to be like June, July, I'm sure, for the non-Olympic weight World Championship. So there is that asterisk where if you see somebody like a Zane not retire, I don't think they're going for another 4 years. I think basically the intent is, let me go out at my natural weight. Let me go out, so that I agree with you, and I'm not looking forward to the retirements. But I do think we might see a little bit less than normal because of the non-Olympic weight World Championships.
Right. I'm taking Zane though. Who are you taking, Yanni or Nick Lee?
I don't know. It's so
Oh,
tough.
we've seen it a couple times.
I know. It's also very hard to beat a guy of the caliber of these guys 3-4 times in a row. Nick Lee has beaten Yanni like 3 or 4 times in a row now.
I know.
Because he won.
And
It was
really
2-0 last year at Final X, right?
The ones that Final X were really weird.
I don't know. We'll come back to it. I'm gonna put.
We'll come back to it. No, you gotta make a decision.
Unless
you just want to say right now, I ain't picking this. You have that right. You can say I ain't picking. But
I don't know. I've already disclosed. Nick Lee, Zane, and Yanni are all clients of mine. I love all 3 of them, and I'm rooting for all 3 of them. But I do want to make a pick. That's why I said come back to me. As of now, I'm not going to make a pick, but come back to me.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so 74.
74, you got Jordan Burrows up top. Could it add to his legacy, his long legacy, perhaps one of the best American freestylers ever, or will it be one of his last performances ever? Alex Facundo, the 9, Alex Marinelli, the 8. So the winner of that gets to Burrows. Mesenbrink is a 5. He has JQs. I think everybody would take Mesenbrink in that matchup. And then the winner, Mesenbrink would have the winner of Lockett or Monday. Lockett, uber talented, but I think Monday, the safe pick there. So Mesenbrink, Monday. And, for that matchup, we all, I think, sometimes we see how amazing Mesenbrink is, and he's been second and first at junior level, comes right in, freshman, NCAA finalist, and in dominating fashion. He pretty much dominated everybody all year long, was just a hair away from a title against all-time legend David Carr. And so I think a lot of people want to okay, Mesenbrink, I'm taking Mesenbrink. But Monday has been really good.
So tough, dude. I think it's Burrows and Monday.
At the senior level.
I think it's Burrows and Monday in the semis up top.
I'm going to go Quincy, too. I'm going to go Quincy as well. But Quincy's been so good at the senior level. Much better than I thought he was going to be. Especially, and he's only a year out.
And if you talk to guys like Nolf, they'll tell you Monday is as tough as they come. He's, I think it's Burrows and Monday up top. I don't think that Mesenbrink. I don't think he has the horsepower to beat Monday. Monday is so big and strong. He's slowing guys like Nolf down. And it's I
think he has. Here's the thing with Mesenbrink.
Mesenbrink's gas tank is also stupid insane.
It's stupid insane. I think for Mesenbrink, it's just another bar for young guys who have been so fantastic. And it doesn't just go for Mesenbrink, but any young guy who has been utterly fantastic. You need him to notch these thresholds, to reach these thresholds. And when he came into the season, it was all right, this dude's uber talented, but let's see if he can do it at the D1 level. Let's see if he can do it in college. And he eviscerated people. Yeah. I was okay, but he's not. He can eviscerate number 15 on down, but how does he do with the top 5 guys? And then he beats Hamidi. Okay, so threshold reached, right?
Yep.
Okay, but how can he do against Keegan and David? I mean, he went toe-to-toe with David. So threshold reached, right?
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is another litmus test. Quincy Monday, 4 seed at the senior level, balled up people at senior nationals. Is Mesenbrink there yet? The answer very well could be yes.
Sure.
But I'm going to take Monday until I see it.
Agreed. Same. I do think, too, by the way, because Chenzo's obviously a close friend of mine. We talk every day. We've talked about the Olympic trials. And I had told him straight up, I do not want him the 5, 8, or 9. I wanted him the 6 or 7. I did not want him and Burrows early on in this tournament. I did not want to see one of them end each other's tournaments that early. And when I saw the seeds, I was obviously happy. I don't like that Chenzo Nolf could be a quarter, but when you saw this bracket, Meyer Shapiro being a 6,
that stood out to me.
Did it? You're a seed guy. I'm not. To me, I said, that's interesting. I thought Chenzo would be a little bit higher than a 7. I know he wrestled the last chance. He was banged up. He couldn't compete much during the senior level season. But I did see that.
I thought it was really surprising. And now I'll say this. I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know if that seeding is wrong. But it's certainly knee-jerk reaction. Surprising that 2 guys who have only ever done it on an age level were seated as a Chenzo. For Mesenbrink,
Mesenbrink was seated super high too.
Yeah, for Mesenbrink and Shapiro to be ahead of Chenzo was a little. That's interesting. I don't know about that. Even Burger was in Final X last year.
Yeah,
you're gonna Meyer Shapiro never wrestled a senior level match in his life.
Yeah,
you're gonna put him ahead of Tyler Burger, who was.
And why put Levi down at the 10? Based on that's the, that was one thing I saw. I think John Kozak even just tweeted it too. He did a great job predicting the seeds. I thought, his logic and looking at what they are now. A lot of them were close.
I thought, I knew when Kozak came out with the seeds, I knew there was going to be things different, but I thought his logic in 99% of them were pretty dang good. And there's always going to be some things a little different that you didn't see, and this was one of them.
Yeah. And, we end up with a Burger. Now, listen, if you told me Shapiro was the 11 and Burger was the 6, I'd understand. Because of Burger being in Final X last year, because of that, So I don't know how much it changes the matches too much. I'm glad Chenzo's on the bottom side, but...
I guess, I'm sort of hypocritical a little bit in that I always say, you're going to seed something, get it right. This is a bad seed. This is a bad decision. I don't know this isn't logical.
David Carr update. He just tweeted, last week I suffered an injury to my ankle. Because of this, unfortunately, I'm unable to wrestle the trials. I was looking forward to it, obviously, but that's life sometimes. Injuries are an unfortunate part of the sport. I praise the Lord for the support system behind. So there's the David Carr.
The saving grace in that, and it's a real bummer because he could have added to what is already just an insane bracket. But I guess a saving grace in that is that he is young on the young end. So,
listen, you do also have Burrows, Dake. It is such a weight that it's like if you were to make betting odds, a guy as good as Carr. It's crazy what those odds would be for him to have what the odds would be for him to win because of who's in that bracket. So, not worth risking an injury, but it sounds like it wasn't even a choice. All right, so the bottom side of the bracket.
You have Burger, Shapiro. I'm gonna go Burger. I don't know why. Wait. Yeah, I'm going to go Burger. Shapiro is clearly small for the weight. Burger is a full-time freestyle guy, made Final X last year. I'm taking Burger.
Yeah, I'm going Burger too there. I like your logic.
And then I'll take O'Toole to beat him in the semi, though, or in that quarter, though. Are you taking Burger or O'Toole?
O'Toole.
Okay, we both got O'Toole. Chenzo, Levi, I will go Chenzo. I think he's a I think he's much bigger. Although, yeah, he's much bigger. And again, with Levi's just stepping off of the folk style match, and Matt and Chenzo's been training full-time freestyle for a while. Joseph is really, he has explosive stuff, high amplitude stuff. I'm going Chenzo.
Chenzo did not let up a point at the last chance.
Yeah.
Outscored his opponents 39-0. He's hard to score him, man. Those hips don't lie. Cue up the music.
And then Nolf Chenzo. I mean, maybe the best quarter match in the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is there anything?
I don't think when I looked through briefly, I don't think there's a better quarterfinal.
Dayton Suriano. Bartlett Alirez. But
great quarterfinals. It's the Olympic trials, but you're talking a 2-time versus a 3-time NCAA champ, former teammates. Chenzo, who very well could have been a 3-timer if COVID didn't happen. It's by far the best quarterfinal. And I'm definitely not picking that one. I'm going to be bummed for whoever loses that one. Absolutely bummed.
It is hard. That is a hard. Have they hit before? I should know this.
I believe Nolf beat him at the Bill Farrell in 2019.
I should know that. That's 5 years ago. That's the only time they hit.
I believe so. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Nolf with. I'm gonna go Chenzo.
Wow,
I'm gonna go
I
Chenzo,
like it,
and I have no idea why.
Yeah, I'm not picking that one. That's gonna be a hard match for me. Where it's like I'm so happy for Nolf if he wins. I'm obviously so happy for Chenzo.
It's hard for me to. It's hard for me to know that Vincenzo Joseph beat Alex Derringer.
Listen, by the way, I think whoever wins that match, takes out O'Toole. We saw Nolf beat O'Toole like 9-2, 10-2 last year. I think the winner of Nolf Chenzo takes out O'Toole, and I think Burrows takes out Monday, and I think it's Burrows versus Nolf or Burrows versus Chenzo. Another match that I'm just like.
I'll go the same way as you. I'll go Chenzo / Nolf. I'll go Chenzo in the finals against Burrows.
And then what do? You have Burrows, one of the greatest doubles of all time, and you got Chenzo, some of the strongest hips out there.
I'm going Burrows.
It wouldn't surprise him. He's the GOAT. And I asked Chenzo, like, what's your thoughts on this? And he goes, he said, Jordan Burrows is one of the greatest of all time, and I'm pumped to be in a bracket with him. Like, I want to wrestle him. I want to wrestle one of, if not the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Chenzo, in my opinion, is one of the biggest balls. Like, that dude has balls. That dude is fearless.
On wrestling or fantasy football?
Guys. What's that?
In wrestling or fantasy football?
Well, I think he won our league. He was like, he definitely had the best regular season. And that was in a high stakes league too. I think that was in a high stakes league. That was David Taylor's league. But no, in wrestling. I mean,
no, I know.
This dude always overachieves when the lights are on. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be Imar. He wasn't supposed to be Alex Derringer. He wasn't even in high school. That dude wrestled 120. That dude wrestled 120 as like a sophomore, and then moved up to like 38 or 45, and beat like Kemmerer, right? He was always the underdog. He was always like, yeah, he's really good, but he ain't that level. And then he just kept spoiling everything for everybody. So
all right, so I'm not picking Jordan versus Nolf/Chenzo.
You ain't picking this whole bracket.
No, I am. I'm saying it's Burrows versus Nolf or Chenzo in the finals.
Well, then you can't even say who's in the finals against Kyle Dake.
Yeah, I can.
Who?
Burrows/Nolf/Chenzo.
All right. Well, I'm taking Dake. But I'm going Burrows over Chenzo. I'm going Chenzo over Nolf. Burrows over Chenzo. Dake over Burrows.
Do you think? I'm assuming the answer is obviously Burrows, but out of Burrows, Nolf, Chenzo, do you give Burrows the highest likelihood of being able to dethrone Dake? What does a Chenzo versus Dake match look like?
I won't mind seeing it. But here's the problem. I think what a Dake Chenzo match looks like is they go upper body and Dake wins it. People sleep on Dake's like Greco-esque back.
Nobody sleeps on Dake's anything. That dude, his head pinches, his upper body, and his strength is stupid. Dake's strength is like, it's why so many guys are so frustrated wrestling him. It's like you get in a shot and he just head pinches you into the stands.
Right. Yeah. Who has the better shot of the three? It's hard because in 2021 in the finals, it wasn't close with Dake and Burrows. Now, things can obviously change. And Burrows could have a better day than he had that day. Remember, it was the other way around last time where Burrows sat in the finals and didn't have to wrestle. Did that affect him at all? I don't know. Although, basically, he sat out in the finals his whole career, so probably not. Anyway, it wasn't really close. Nolf has at least wrestled. Didn't he wrestle close matches with Dake?
Nolf got destroyed by him in the 2021 Olympic trials, and then he closed the gap, and he has continued to improve, and he's put himself in a tier where he's like above that tier of other guys where he's like right there.
But here's the thing, though. It's like at the trials in 2021, Dake bombed him, right?
Yeah.
And the matches have been close since. But did Nolf threaten ever? I think the last time they wrestled, Nolf didn't do a thing. It was really weird because Nolf always does things. But Nolf didn't attempt to do much at all. It was an odd match.
It was 3-0 and 6-0 at Final X last year. Yeah, Dake is very, very hard to score on. Very hard. It's why he's one of the best in the world. And, it's going to be interesting because it's very sad. Dake's dad passed away last week.
That's terrible.
And his dad was young. His dad was only 62 years old. And
I cringed when I was told. And I messaged him and I said, God bless you.
The obituary said he passed away peacefully at home. I don't know if he was sick. I don't know if this was a surprise. I don't know. I don't know anything. But, you can make the arguments that both, number one, is Dake going to be distracted in his training? That has to be so hard to lose your dad a week before. And Kyle Dake's dad was a wrestler. And he's somebody who's always been around the sport.
All-American at Kent State, I believe.
Yeah, he's always been around the sport. And so it's like, does that impede at all his training? And do we see him, dealing with that? On the other side, is he fired up wrestling his final Olympic trials in honor of his dad? So it's like,
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll honor his dad in that way.
I think he's going to honor his dad no matter what. But when you're doing these things, it's just, I can't imagine going through that.
You have to go to a funeral 2 days before.
No, they pushed that off.
They did?
The obituary said visitation is like April 27th. So the family probably decided, like, listen, go and win those Olympic trials. And, but it's so sad to deal with that kind of adversity. I mean, wrestlers are not shy. There's never a shortage of adversity they deal with. So,
yeah. But I'm taking Dake over Burrows. Although massive intrigue on if it's Nolf or Chenzo.
Do you? I don't know.
Or maybe Keegan. Who knows?
I think Nolf and Chenzo take out Keegan.
So do I, but
it's always interesting what matches we see on the backside of the trials. This is one of those weights where what matches could we see? I don't know that if a Burrows loses, he's wrestling on the backside.
Hey, one thing we didn't talk about, and you're right, the backside matches are crazy. I mean, especially for going forward with so many guys that are going to retire. You could learn who the next is. Like, I think that in 2021, we learned that the next was Nick Lee, right? And sure enough, he made world teams right after that.
And there were people who said, and I remember saying it, like, you can only count backside matches to some degree because it's like the Burrows-Bexon match where Burrows lost to Bexon on the backside after suffering defeat in the Olympics. Like, the backside matches, you do have a lot of added context to it, but still, there is still that element of, wow, Nick Lee just beat Zayn. Wow, Nick Lee beat Yanni. Like, you still have that. Right.
So, that is going to be fun, especially at that weight. One thing we didn't talk about was qualifying. We talked about at 57, who's best to qualify at last chance. 65, we did not talk about. With the major players being Zayn, Yanni, Nick Lee, Alirez, maybe James Green. Who do you think's the best to qualify over in Istanbul? And my answer is, I have no earthly idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I'd say Yanni or Zayn just because they've both won world medals and they've both, had that success. It's funny because people's answer is always Yanni. For some reason, it's always Yanni. It's always Yanni. It's always send Yanni. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're wrong, but it's always send Yanni.
I don't think they're necessarily wrong. I don't think they're necessarily right either. But
no, what I'm saying is I think you're right in the sense of, yes, I think Yanni can qualify the weight. I don't agree with, like, don't send this guy, send Yanni.
Yeah. Right.
But I do think the winner of this weekend does qualify.
You know what? I was talking to Piles the other day, and he asked me a question about something freestyle, or we were talking something freestyle, and I said, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I'm out of the loop on international results. My point being, I don't know who's gonna be there. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who's gonna be there, who has to be there, and actually. To be honest, nobody knows the total field yet because Asian's going on right now.
Yes, it either just wrapped up or it's going on this weekend.
Right, so there's still things to figure out.
Yeah. I'm going with the winner of the bottom side winning 74. I'm going with the upset.
What are you telling me?
At 74. Burrows, Nolf, Chenzo, that winner, I think they ride the momentum and they dethrone Dake.
That Penn State crowd?
Well, it could be Burrows.
Wait, you're saying that the winner of the mini bracket beats Dake?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Man, I think, I, I think Kyle Dake's awesome.
Of course he's awesome.
I think he's awesome. He's a freaking.
The dude's a 4-time world champ. He's got another world silver.
Not to crack. I just don't see any. I don't see any path. I mean, I obviously, I picked Jordan Burrows against Dake every single time. And every single time I was right. Until the 2021 finals. And I picked Dake, and I was right again. I just thought it was time. I just thought the torch was going to be passed, and it sort of was. Now, can Jordan get that back? I don't know. If the 2021 finals were closer than what they were,
it's a long time ago.
It's a lot. Yeah, you're right. It was a long time ago, and Jordan has been doing really well on the world level. Otherwise, you know what's funny though? Back then, despite me picking Dake in 2021, I did say that everybody was writing Jordan off prematurely. Like even the couple years before that, people started. Jordan's at the end of his rope. He's not the same as he used to be, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" He lost. His only losses internationally came to in the final seconds of Worlds twice to the champ, right? And so, like, you're saying he lost a step, but his only losses were to the champ in the waning moments, right? And who did Dake lose to? He lost the same guy. So,
if Burrows beats Nolf/Chenzo in the Challenge Tournament Finals and rides the momentum into that Saturday night versus, and it's always a debate, how much, obviously it's beneficial to sit in the finals. You don't have to risk going through that tournament. You don't have to risk injury. There's a lot of perks to sitting out. At what point does sitting out become a negative or not as much of an advantage for sitting around and waiting? I think it's a huge advantage. I absolutely do.
Yeah.
But can the guy who wins this challenge tournament with that bracket, one of the deepest brackets we've ever seen at the Olympic trials, go on and take the momentum and to beat Dake? I think it happens.
I can't pick it. Dake's too complete. I mean, he's so hard to beat. So I'm not picking it. I'm picking Dake.
Okay, that's fine.
86. David Taylor sitting in the finals. Zahid Valencia is sitting in the semis as a world medalist at 92. Aaron Brooks is your top seed. McFadden and Marisola, the 8-9. And McFadden, boy, did he look great at last chance.
Incredible.
I'm going to take McFadden over Marisola, although that's not Marisola has done well. Marisola, correct me if I'm wrong, split matches with Max Dean. So that's how good Marisola is. But I'll take McFadden, and he'll face Brooks in the quarter. The other quarter will be, since there's only 11 in the bracket, it will be Ringer and Hall. And, man, that is a tough one. That is a tough bout to pick. I'm gonna go Mark Hall.
I'm going Mark Hall too.
I'm gonna go Mark Hall. Mark Hall, Aaron Brooks, semi up top, and I will go AB. Down below, Patrick Downey, PD3 against Carter Starocki. There should be a mini series. There should be some kind of flow. Put something together. Put some kind of hype video together on just the audacity of this potential matchup.
Yeah.
But I'll say Carter Starocki. I don't think Patrick Downey even shows up. So Starocki and Hidley quarterfinal. I will go.
How? Time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. Let's say Carter Strachey wins by default, by tech, by whatever.
He will.
We're going to have the 174-pound NCAA champ versus the 184-pound runner-up who was undefeated until he ran 97. into the 97, until he ran into the guy up top there, Aaron Brooks. You have 3 out of the 4 finalists at 2 weights right here with Brooks and Hidley, the finalists at 97. Like, just what a crazy weight, and what a crazy match where you have Carter and Hidley, who were 2 weights separated at NCAAs, now a potential quarter final.
Yeah. I'm going Trent. This is a really weird bout.
I'm going Trent on size alone. On size and health. Carter I think Carter's right there. But Carter wanted to go 74. If he didn't go 74, that tells me he's not healthy enough to make that extreme cut. If he's not healthy enough to make that extreme cut and he's going to bump up and take his chances, I'm all for it. I'm supporting him. I hope he does amazing. But beating a 197-pound NCAA runner-up who's undefeated, had a dominant year, I think is a tall task, given especially the injury status.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, I'm going to go Trent. And then down below we have Max Dean, Evan Wick. Another just weird. That's weird. I think Max Dean wrestled 97 his senior year, and Evan Wick wrestled 65.
Evan Wick is tall, man. By the way, don't forget too, part of the Hidley pick is his run at the Bill Farrell back in like November was crazy. He looked awesome. He looked very dominant.
Yeah. Yes, he did. All
right. So you're going. Who are you going? Wick or Dean?
I once interviewed Evan Wick live on camera on a live stream after a match. You win, you step off, you get interviewed. This is how tall Evan Wick was. I had to go like this.
Well, you do that to a lot of people, to be fair.
No, not 165-pounders. Okay, so Dean Wick winner. I'm going to say, I don't know. I'll say Dean, but I think Wick's tricky. But I'll say Dean. I don't know. I might take Wick.
I'm going Dean, and then I think Chance beats Dean, and then I think Hidley beats Chance.
Did Wick pin Marsteller at NCAAs?
I don't remember. Let me see if I can look it up real quick.
I'm going Chance too, although I think that anybody could come out of that.
It was wow. Evan Wick pinned him in the first period and then lost 6-5 to him.
That's right. He beat him on the front side. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was Chance took third. You can't tell on WrestleStat.
Yeah, he took third. WrestleStat has it.
Right. That was the last.
WrestleStat's got it all, baby.
Yeah, baby.
WrestleStat timeout. Can we get and I've told this to those guys. Can we get WrestleStat Freestyle? WrestleStat is one of the greatest assets to college wrestling. I need it freestyle.
You know what they should at least do? You know what WrestleStat should at least do? I mean, I say at least when they do so much for basically just the fans, right? But it would be awesome if they, even if it was just domestic results, just domestic senior free.
And I think they're working on it, but obviously it's such an undertaking. So
okay. So I'm going to go Chance, and I have no idea why, because I have no idea why. I'm going to take Chance. I just think I think anything can happen down there.
Dude, Chance beat Burrows 2 out of 3 last year. Chance is a dog. Like
I know, but this is 86, and
but he's tough to score on. He's got those stocky hips that are just, he puts his legs back, and he's so tough to score on. And whether it's Dean or Wick who win that match, neither of them have an explosive offense that it's like, oh, they'll break through. You know what I mean? Like, Marsteller's got great defense, and I think...
Yeah, I know, 100%, but that's at 79 kilograms. And these dudes...
All right, so who's your pick?
Well, I guess not so much Wick, but I don't know. I'll take Chance all the way out, but I'll take Trent then over Chance.
And then who do you got for Trent versus Zahid?
That's that's so tough. Oh, that's such a tough pick. That might be one of the most difficult picks. Do you think, or am I off here?
Last year, Zahid beat Trent 8-3 at the Open.
How long is Zahid's hair going to be? That's a factor to me.
And how does he... Listen, we often talk about the weight cut on the lower weights. Zahid looked awesome at 92, and I never realized that the weight cut was any kind of an issue. Sounds like it may be more so. What is Zahid's weight cut like? Remember when he was beating Brooks and then like gassed and Brooks beat him? I can't remember if that was at the Olympic trials. U.S. Open. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he just hit a wall.
Yeah, it's tough. Trent has made leaps and bounds last year.
I'm taking Zahid. I'm going to take Zahid. And then Zahid, Aaron Brooks. Zahid, Aaron Brooks, you just mentioned it. We saw it last year at the U.S. Open. Big lead for Zahid, and then he kind of hit a wall, and Brooks won. Now, Brooks seems to be making jumps and jumps. I don't know.
Brooks.
I'm going to take Brooks. But it's a thing. So I'll take Brooks and Taylor, and we saw this matchup last year at Final X where Brooks had a really respectable showing. He threatened at times, which not a lot of people even get close to sniffing anything on David Taylor. And Brooks had a couple moments. I will take Taylor with the caveat that we haven't seen David in a long time, and I don't know. You never know. When guys get this age and have this much success. You never know when the light's gonna start flickering off. You know what I mean?
Listen.
So, I mean, the pick is clearly David. Under the caveat that you never know.
If I haven't seen betting lines yet for this event, if betting lines comes out, my favorite underdog to bet will be Aaron Brooks.
How much would it have to be for you to bet on it? Are we talking like if Aaron Brooks is plus 150, are you laying money?
He wouldn't be plus 150. I think he'd be like at least plus 300.
Okay, so you're talking okay. Yeah, I agree. A plus that high would be tempting.
If you look at the last 2 seasons, David Taylor is the number 1 pound for pound wrestler on planet Earth right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in the last year, we have seen him wrestle 1 time. The 2023 World Championships. That's it. And he looked as absolute good as he can get. But we saw him 1 time. Since we last saw David Taylor at the 2023 World Championships, and he has not competed since, Aaron Brooks went 20 out of 22 bonus wins through the NCAA season, won his 4th NCAA title, won a Hodge Trophy.
Yeah.
Listen, just hold on.
Were any of those guys named Hassan Yazdani Charati?
keep in mind, we're talking about a 3-1 underdog. We're not talking just straight up. Yazdani is also one of the.
Yeah.
But
you don't have to convince me. You don't have to convince me with those odds.
My point is, over the past year, if you look at when David Taylor and Aaron Brooks wrestled last year, it was 6-0. Aaron Brooks made adjustments, and then the next match was 5-4. Aaron Brooks and David Taylor had the same coaches. They had the same training partner. They had the same room. If anybody, in my opinion, on planet Earth beats David Taylor this year, it's Aaron Brooks. I also think if Aaron Brooks beats David Taylor, he can go and win Olympic gold. By the way, Aaron Brooks also, since the 2023 World Championships when we last saw David Taylor, Aaron Brooks also went and won a U23 World Gold just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is getting better and better. David Taylor is 33 years old, has 3 beautiful kids now, has a farm.
Yeah. What if they were not beautiful? Would that make a difference?
Well, I'm just
3 beautiful kids.
No, but I mean, listen, kids, I got 202. Kids are the biggest blessing on planet Earth. So when you have kids, it's like it means so much. It's like you have 3 kids, you have a farm, you have multiple businesses. What is his incentive? Now I know.
Well, that's why I think this is David's last dance.
I 100% think it's his last dance.
And that's what I'm getting at.
By the way,
the motivation factor.
I think for the Living the Dream Medal Fund, if you go and repeat, you double, and he could win $500,000 now instead of $250,000. That's a lot of pressure to go and win.
Then he's going to up the fantasy league entry fee.
So I'm not betting the Aaron Brooks money line. I am betting the Aaron Brooks money line. I'm not betting the spread. I'm betting the Aaron Brooks money line here to beat David Taylor.
Yeah. So the pick is David Taylor, though.
No, Aaron Brooks.
You're not picking
Aaron I'll pick him straight up. I'm picking him straight up. Aaron Brooks.
You're picking him straight up. Aaron Brooks is going to win the trials.
In a 2-1 series, yeah.
You're saying that you are picking Aaron Brooks to win the Olympic trials this year.
Why can't? Tell me why he can't. Yes, tell me why he can't.
I'm not saying he can. I'm saying he's not the pick.
For you, he's not the pick. Listen,
all right.
In that same span where David Taylor has, do you think in the past year David Taylor has gotten better since their last?
How the hell do I know? He hasn't wrestled.
Can you get better if you don't wrestle at 33 years old for a year?
Are you telling me that you know that David Taylor has not gotten better?
No. But I can see that Aaron Brooks has. Why? That's visually apparent. Because he dominates Trent Hidley. He dominates the entire collegiate wrestling scene. He went out and dominated to a U23 World Championship.
And David Taylor beat Hassan Yazdani Cherati.
I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying you're
dominated him.
I'm not
Killed
saying
him. 100%.
I'm not saying
beat
you're
him worse than anyone has ever beaten him.
I'm not saying that David Taylor is a bad pick. I understand your pick. You're telling me I got a bad pick. I'm not telling you your pick is wrong.
I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm saying it's not the pick. It's not the worst pick. It's not the worst pick in the world. It's not the if you're saying name one underdog that can win the trials, you might be right. It might be Aaron Brooks. But it's not the pick. Come on. All right. You got him. You got him. You can look like the brain. You can be the brain. If this happens, you're the brain. 97. Jaden Cox. Talk about somebody you haven't seen wrestle in a while.
And can we finally see Snyder Cox at the Olympic trials? Can we finally please see it?
The gods will not allow it. The gods will not allow it. Jaden Cox is your number 1 seed. Christian Carroll, Anthony Cassiope, Tiny Cass. The 8 and 9. Remember when they did Cassiope just bulked up from like 240 to like 260, and now he's making 213 pounds. No, I shouldn't say 260. I don't know what he weighed, but you remember that time that he just went from like No, I shouldn't say he bulked up. He actually slimmed down, but his body transformation. We have another transformation. He went from like round and burly to
he got shredded. He got shredded.
Shredded linebacker looking guy, and now he's down at 213. Give me him over Carroll in the 8-9 matchup. The 4-5 is Cullen Moore versus Nate Jackson. That's a really great matchup. I don't recall the last time seeing Nate either. I'll go Cullen. Dude, what is up with Jaden? I feel like writing Jaden off. Why do I feel like that? Is it just because we haven't seen him
in the last 4 years? Colin Moore has been a victim of having just greats and legends in front of him. His only domestic losses are Snyder in the best of 3 World Team Trial Finals, Jaden Cox in the best of 3 World Team Trial Finals, Snyder in the 2020 Olympic Trials best of 3 finals. Like, and he, beyond that, I think he has like a loss to Mike Mock at like the Flow RTC Cup or something. But Colin Moore is so good.
He got hurt pretty bad at the U.S. Open last year. I think he might have lost a close one to Jaden or something like that.
Yeah, I think his only losses are Jaden and Snyder. And it's like, you know, I think this is clearly more in Jaden in the semis. I think Jaden, you know, I don't think these guys will give him a run. Colin Moore and Nate Jackson have wrestled a number of times, and Colin Moore keeps getting the better of him. So I think it's more Jaden. Can Colin Moore beat Jaden?
I'm not going to pick. I'm going to take Jaden to the finals over Moore in the semi. Down below, there's just 9 guys here, by the way. So there's a sort of a pigtail with Christian Carroll, Cassiope, and then they're all quarters. Mike Mock, Jay Aiello is the quarter down below. Schultz and Trumbull. There must have been a couple scratches here, huh?
Let me see.
There was originally more than 9 guys. I think there might have been 10. Where?
Let me see.
No, that's right. That is right.
Hey, there was 10 with Snyder sitting out.
There was 10. Schultz and Trumbull is so difficult to pick. Trumbull's look great. Trumbull has looked really great.
I'm going Mike Mock out of the bottom side.
Me too. I'm going Mike Mock. Mike Mock, Jaden Cox. Jaden Cox, Kyle Snyder. We're going to do the dang thing. And I'm taking Snyder.
Yeah, I think Snyder's just proven himself. He's made the team, every year since 2015, and he's medaled every single time.
Yeah.
I mean, just, it's crazy. I think it'll be good, but, yeah, I think it's Snyder.
What was that? Not that it means anything whatsoever, but I didn't even go to it because I was so busy. Jaden and Kyle.
By the way, we got a Carter Burrows update.
What's up? What's the latest?
Carter responded to Burrows and said, "Yes, my shaft grew a bit. Just don't leave your shoes on the mat this weekend. We can get it popping, no problem."
His what grew a bit?
His shaft.
Shaft. SHAFT?
Correct.
Oh, man. Well.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Hey, hold, give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
What are we doing? What are these shenanigans? If his shaft grew a little bit, he has better power to piss on graves. Right? I mean, that's what I deduce out of it all. But, I love Carter. He's a little out of pocket, though. And don't mess with the goat. Come on, Carter. Don't mess with my boy JB like that. But as I was saying, I'll just say something while Basch is, I don't know, going potty or whatever he's doing. Snyder wrestled Cox at Rudis, a Rudis event right prior to 2021, 2020, 2022, 2020, whatever NCAAs were in Detroit. Kyle Snyder wrestled Jaden Cox, and Kyle beat him pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that has any bearing. It's an exhibition. Who knows? I'm just putting it in context there. What happened? Did you have to go potty?
I had to pee. I've had to pee for an hour. We're like 2 hours into this thing.
You said that because I said if Carter's shaft grew, then he has more power to piss on graves.
Oh man. As long as when they see each other, everything's respectful and nice, I'm okay with the banter. I like the banter. Just keep it respectful when you guys see each other next week, and I'm all about it.
All right, Mason Parris at heavyweight sits on top as a world medalist from 2023. Your top seed at heavyweight is Hayden Zilmer. An 8-9 matchup between Demetrius Thomas and Trent Hilger.
Snyder beat Jaden 3-2, by the way.
It was only 3-2?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought Snyder won pretty good, huh? I didn't go to. Were you there that time?
Yes. Yeah, I was there.
Didn't that card take forever? I heard it didn't it take 3 hours to do 10 matches or something?
It was long.
Hilger Thomas up top. Hendrickson and Dom Bradley is a quarterfinal 5-4 matchup. I will go. I'll go Hendrickson. And then I'll go Zilmer. I'll go Zilmer in the Challenge Tournament Finals. Who are you taking?
You know what's going to be sad in this one?
What?
Dom Bradley retiring.
He ain't never retiring.
This dude is 35 years old. I don't know if he's older than Burrows because Burrows is also 35. But shout out Dom Bradley. Just
damn right,
like
shout out Dom
dog.
Bradley. He is the most steady, consistent guy that nobody talks about. The most steady, consistent guy that nobody talks about. He won a junior world title, but he has had to sit behind so many guys, behind some all-time greats, and if you look back, he won a junior world title and then had to sit JV behind Mark Ellis at Missouri. And at the time, I don't know if you guys remember, this is way back. I'm not showing my age, but this is a long time ago. Dom Bradley comes out of high school as a real superstar recruit. He wins a junior world title. And then Mark Ellis really hadn't done anything for Missouri. He was solid, but not great. And Dom comes home with a junior world title, and he sits behind Mark Ellis. They start Mark Ellis, and people are not up in arms, but people are like, man, you got to start Bradley. He's the future, this and that. And Mark Ellis went and won the NCAA title. And so,
what year was that?
And so Dom has always, he's always been third for 15 years,
Yeah.
So you're damn right, honor that guy. Down below, well, you didn't pick your top guy. I'm taking Zilmer.
Yeah, it's Zilmer. I think Zilmer's proven himself, and I don't think these guys love Wyatt Hendrickson. I mean, these guys are so tough. I don't think Trent Hilger or Demetrius Thomas, I don't think they can hang with Zilmer, who has already proven himself. I mean, the guy's a world teamer, and he's just
never forget either that Hayden Zilmer made a world team 2 years ago at heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude won Fargo at 98 pounds.
Crazy.
Or something like that. 94 maybe? Down below. Greg Kirkvliet, Christian Lance. You go Kirk. Gas Tank Gary against Jaron Smith. I don't know, but the winner gets Gwiz. I have Gwiz going out. You got Gwiz and Kirk in the semis, and that is
such a fun match.
That is really tough. Man, that's really tough. Because I think I want to pick Kirk. I want to pick Kirk to win the spot. I think Kirk's going to win the spot. However, I think Gwiz is his. I think Gwiz is a tougher threat to him than Mason. Why do I think that? I don't know why. Maybe it doesn't even make sense, but
I think Gwiz was, before we had this era of Gable and Mason and Kirk and these tough NCAA guys that wrestle like 74-pounders, there was Gwiz. And he was a staple to heavyweight, to the U.S. program. He also, why I'm picking Kirk as well.
For a medal. He wrestled for a medal in like 4 straight.
Yeah, and he won a bronze medal in 2017 and 2018. But why I'm picking Kirk over him here is Kirk wrestled this college season. And again, there is some bias to recency. We see these guys, how they look in the college season. We haven't seen Gwiz that much, but with how much Kirk is wrestling, again, like a lighter guy, I'm going Kirk. And I think that Gwiz has not medaled since 2018. That's a long time to go on the senior level. And if you look at the other guys you picked, I don't know that anybody has not won a medal in that long. Maybe Spencer Lee because he's younger and he was college, only. But you picked Zane, Dake, Taylor, Snyder. These are all guys who medaled last year. So it's harder to pick a guy like Gwiz who hasn't medaled in 6-7 years.
Yeah. I'm going Kirk. I'm going Kirk all the way.
So you have NLWC 5 of 6 weights.
I guess I do.
We got Penn State Willie back. What?
Back, baby.
It took 2 hours. Is that? And you're not going to the Olympic trials in State College? Oh my gosh.
I know, it pains me. It's just a smart thing to do.
So in your predictions, you have NLWC in all of the finals.
Who do I? Yes.
Because you have Gilman Spencer. That was your only non-NLWC pick, was Spencer over Gilman.
Yep, I got.
If
so it's a dual meet. We're having a dual meet at Rec Hall. Isn't it Rec Hall? No, it's at
Bryce Jordan. If Gilman wins, do you tweet out the NLWC is going to have the whole Olympic team? It's over. If Gilman wins 57.
Yeah, it's State College versus Earth.
Now, they are, just to kind of give people an update on the schedule, they are doing it a little funky.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're going to let the guys they're going to let 57 and 65.
What is the point of that?
So I'll tell you. So here's the schedule. Friday from 10 to 3-ish is the challenge tournament, prelims, quarters, and consies. Friday night, 6:30 to 10, we have the challenge tournament, semifinals, and the finals. It'll all be on Peacock. The finals, which are not best of 3, it's one match. Those finals will be on USA Network as well. So Friday night, we know who wins the challenge tournaments. We know all the best of 3 finals, and that's all that's happening Saturday. Saturday at 10:30 a.m. to 3, we have the best of 3 finals for round 1 for all the matches, all 3 styles. And then we have round 2 for the not yet qualified weights. And I think the reason they're doing that, so basically 57 and 65 are not qualified. So we're going to see the 57 and 65 kilos for men's freestyle finals. And I think the reason they're doing that is I'm wondering if they're going to do some kind of Olympian celebration or something where it's like, get these guys done who are not officially Olympians yet, and then do the Olympian celebrations or whatever they're going to do. That's why I think they're doing that. And if it goes...
They're only doing the first round, though, right?
No.
Or the second round.
They're doing the first round, and then they're doing round 2 just for the not yet qualified weights. Now...
I'll bet you... And that's in all styles.
Correct.
You know why they're doing that?
Women's, I think, has all 6 weights qualified.
You know why they're doing that? They're doing that. They're doing that to make a nice, short segment at the night session.
Could be. Well, and then the night session, which is 6:30 p.m. Saturday night on Peacock and USA Network, is going to be the third round of the best of 3 finals for those not yet qualified weights, if they go 3 rounds, and then round 2 and 3 for all the remaining weights.
Yep.
So that might be a dual meet. It might be a men's freestyle dual meet, Penn State NLWC versus the world. By the way, real quick, at women's freestyle, I was looking through it. Everybody sitting out might just make the team. Are you picking anybody to? I think Sarah Hildebrandt sitting out at 50 makes a team. I think Dom Parrish sitting out at 53 makes a team. I think Houghton winning at 57 is the biggest favorite in women's freestyle. 62, I think Kayla Miracle makes a team. 68, I think Amit Elor makes the team. And then 76 is the only weight where I'm kind of like, can Kennedy Blades, Kylie Welker, Diamond, can they upset and dethrone Adeline? I'm unsure of it. Kennedy teched Adeline a couple months ago, or last year sometime. So I'm kind of leaning towards a Kennedy Blades upset. But do you think anybody can dethrone those 6 in the best of 3 finals?
Well, I think heavyweight.
Yeah, that's what I think.
It's sort of I think heavyweight. I actually think. I think 62 is primed for an upset. But yeah, the other 4 I would pick.
Who at 62? Do you think?
I think there's a number of people. I think
because you got Jennifer Page and Macy Kilty sitting out to the semis.
I think Velty's always close.
I think Macy could do it.
I think Macy can. I think Nuchukwu could.
Yeah, she was what? She was the college wrestler of the year this year?
Yeah, I don't think Paige will. I think. Yeah.
Hey, Willie, question. Why were the cadet and junior women's teams set this week?
They always do that.
Really?
You know what I would like to have seen? I am going to suggest this. Now, it won't come into play for 4 more years, but I'm going to suggest this to Rich Bender and Pete Isaias. It makes sense. I mean, you look at the schedule, right? You got the schedule. You got women's age level trials, then the Olympic trials, then cadet trials, back to back to back, right? So there's one reason why the girls had to have they had to be somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But in Olympic years, what I would like to see them do, because the seniors aren't at the U.S. Open, put the girls and the boys together for cadets and juniors.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
We can all be there together.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so that's the Olympic trials preview. Willie predicts 5 of the 6 belongs to the NLWC, and then it's going to be NLWC versus the world later this year. We've gone 2 hours. Do you think we should do a coaching show on like Wednesday?
Let's do a coaching show on Wednesday in Crystal Ball.
Okay. Because we both know there's going to be some announcements made tomorrow. Which...
Yeah, there's going to be all kinds of stuff. I tweeted, I don't know, Thursday or Friday. A lot of news is going to pop off. Some of it already came, like Connor McGonigal.
To VTech. Somebody DM'd me today and said McGonigal to Virginia Tech is a done deal. I go, wasn't that yesterday when Willie put him in the crystal ball?
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to a couple people last week. It was pretty much sewn up.
Hey, one final Olympic trials thought. Give me your darkest dark horse to win any of the weights.
Men?
Yeah. Your darkest dark horse.
By seed?
Sure. What's the lowest seed that wins the trials? Because in your pick, you have a 2, semi sitting out, a 1, a 1, a 1, and then Kirk is the 3. So you're picking nobody less than a 3, which I get. I don't think I did either. But if you had to pick a dark horse, you can go any weight. You got to pick somebody less than a 4 seed. It's got to be 5 or at a minimum 5 or lower.
I don't think Nico would be crazy.
Nico would be such a fun story. Nico would be such a fun story. Is Soriano a better dark horse pick at 6? Handsome Tuesday would explode if Soriano becomes an Olympian.
They would blow up. If now that might be the best pick. I mean, if you're looking at 6s across the board, I mean, Soriano has a shot.
Yeah, I almost think he's at a dark horse. I feel like there's that group of like 6 that because 57 is the widest open. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you. I get in Thursday morning. You want to grab lunch Thursday?
Well, let me see what flights are. I might have to go.
You gotta go. It's gonna be so long. Listen, just think about the weights you picked. You got Spencer Lee versus Thomas Gilman. Hawkeye versus former.
Look up flight.
All right, everybody listening, comment and tweet and tag them, please. Say Willie to State College. Willie to State College.
Dang it.
All right, and everybody comment below. Comment below your 6 picks for men's freestyle, because everybody comes at us sometimes for our picks. Make your own picks.
Let us
harass you for yours. And we'll be back probably Wednesday with a coaching carousel. I think this is going to be probably the biggest week. If Oklahoma State makes their pick, and then the news dropping tomorrow, which might set some stuff up in motion. So it'll be a fun show.
Yeah. And plus, I really want to weigh in on the John Smith situation too. So tomorrow or Wednesday.
We could do it. Yeah, either day. There's a lot to talk about the John Smith too. So, all right. That's Baschamania like 228 or something. Basch The Brain.
And the beat goes on.